Welcome to Stewardship Revival Week, where we explore how God blesses all aspects of life. Today, I sit down with Sam, BUC Communication Director, to discuss the Marriage Enrichment Fellowship Ministry, a 20-year journey of strengthening relationships and reaching communities through practical support for couples. Join us for this inspiring conversation about stewarding marriages for God's glory.
Sam, welcome and thank you so much for joining us for Stewardship Revival Week. Sam, how long have you been married?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. It's been a pleasure to be welcome to take part in this stewardship program. I've been married for about 22 years.
Well, no, you said about.
Well, let me say, yeah, because it's not precisely 22 years.
Remember,
It's a little bit more,
how many?
22 years.
Okay, 20, okay. And so what made you want to get married in the first place?
That's very interesting. I think there is something in us, being in society, you all want to get married. But I think the other thing is pressure from friends, everybody else. But it's a joy to be married.
Oh, and your wife is a lovely woman, isn't she? She's an absolutely gorgeous woman.
Thank
But Sam, you're not just married, you actually run a marriage ministry. As well as being communication director of the BUC, you also run a marriage ministry. And you've been doing so for many years. How many years has it been now?
We've been doing this for 20 years. We celebrated our 20th anniversary in terms of what we call the Marriage Enrichment Fellowship. We celebrated that in February this year, 22 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so Sam, tell me a little bit more about the ministry.
This is, I would say that this is a ministry that I have a soft spot for. Even though my main, profession in terms of what I do at the DUC is communication and also ministry as a pastor. I find this very relaxing, enriching, and I enjoy helping couples alongside some, the team that, run this Marriage Enrichment Fellowship. We find it very enriching to support families. And what we do is, for some couples, we try to even fund their coming to some of our dinners to experience what it is like to be investing in their marriages. And yes, it is something that, I got into and have enjoyed doing.
So how did you get into it?
How did I get into it? One of my colleagues, Michael Njagi, he used to pastor the Maranatha Church. And one of his elders, Peterson Sentenga, he also studied theology at Newbold. He did a master's, but he decided to focus more on families. And the family ministries director at the time at the SEC, Benny Harford, realized that he had this interest when he first organized a couples evening. There was, it was at a hall, and they invited a speaker and invited couples just to come for that first, meeting. And it appears as people were interested, and they said, can we do, this more often? And as, we started doing it, Benny Harford noticed that this is something good. And so he decided to sponsor Peterson to the Certified Family Educators course. And of course, I was also invited. So the two of us went to do that 5-year training, which was run by the division and also by the General Conference. And so this is how we got into it, because then we had to look at all the other things that influences relationships. And it has been really good doing this over the past 20 years.
So, as well as having the dinners, you also have a retreat. What is the kind of elements of the retreat that you have, your yearly retreat?
Yes. Now, we took this retreat, how do you call it? The aspect of having it as a retreat from Benny Harford. He used to run a yearly retreat for couples. And we encouraged the folks, the members to attend. And when we attended, we said, we could also do this on a yearly basis. And so instead of the quarterly couples dinners that we do, usually around top hotels, because there should be a night out where you dress, we say dress to kill. And, we encourage couples to leave, let somebody babysit their children and come with their spouse and have a good time. And we have dinner. We started with Marriott Hotel at Heathrow, and then we went to the now Radisson Red, which is parking hotel, and people enjoyed it. They enjoyed it. So then we said, if we're having the quarterly ones, we should have one as a retreat. And this is how it started. So the retreat, we usually go to the Davies hotels. We've been to Horsley Park near Gatwick. We've been to Daventry. We've been to Wakefield in Reading, and some other hotels as well. But it's been really good, and we usually invite top-notch presenters, including your husband and yourself. You've been to one of our.
It was actually a blessing to be there. Yeah. And one thing I noticed that was there weren't just people our age or older. It did attract a lot of younger couples. How do you manage to do that? Because that's quite hard to do.
Yeah, and you're right. During our meetings, the core team, we think about young couples as well. And so we extend invitations to all these people. And sometimes when they come, they invite their peers. That, look, this is good. And almost every dinner that we have, there are new young couples who attend. Now, we had one only this past week, I'm talking about 4 days ago. And there were 3 new young couples who attended. And we usually introduce them, and it's always fun, to welcome them. So yes, they have been coming and they see the benefit.
But also, as well as being fun, because I know we had a lot of fun that evening, it's also evangelistic, isn't it? Was it set up for that reason initially?
It is. Now, we usually tell our speakers that this is not church. We are reaching out to couples on a practical basis. And we encourage the couples who have been coming to invite not just Adventists, but others. And we've had so many who came as non-Adventists. You'll be amazed that we even had some Muslim couples.
Yes, we did.
Yes. And one of these couples, 2 years ago, it was very interesting and moving. After the COVID, we had our retreat. And the retreat fell during their Ramadan. It's a Ramadan, when they have in their fast.
Fasting, Ramadan.
But they said they don't want to miss this. And they came nonetheless.
Wow.
I mean, they wouldn't have breakfast and lunch with us, but dinner, late dinner. And they were filled with joy because they said they were learning something practical. And they mingle with everyone. And of course, we all mingle with them and make them feel at home. Now, besides them, we've had folks who, even I don't know whether they are Rastafarians, but they've all come, and they enjoy, the fellowship.
And also, it's not just for one people group. I noticed how diverse it was as well. Yes. So how do you manage to get it that diverse?
It has to do with, the way we extend the invitation and also the speakers we have. The speakers are drawn from, all walks of life. And we've benefited. The diversity of speakers, the diversity of, the attendees has to do with folks inviting their neighbors, friends, and so on. So, yes, the demographics are widespread, and it's been beautiful.
So, Sam, if somebody's struggling in their marriage and wants to come to this, be part of this fellowship, how do they get involved? Because I know that you're packed every time, and you have a waiting list. How would they get involved?
Now, what we're trying to do now is to advertise on a regular basis, either on the South England Conference newsletter and the BBC News. And we want as many as can to attend. And of course, we've been thinking about maybe even doing one separately for younger couples as well. So it is still in the pipeline. So we will be extending our invitation to make sure that as many as can, should attend these couples dinners and retreats. And we aim at, seeing how best we can facilitate more people attending.
So Sam, finally I'm going to ask you, so where do you see the ministry growing? Because over the 20 years it's grown from just an idea in the church by an elder, and it's grown to something really, really significant. Where do you see it going from here?
We can only see it growing and growing. And the leadership, they've been inviting some younger couples to join the team, the management team. And the idea is to see how best they can be taken over so that it will carry on. The sad thing is that we don't get funding or support from anywhere. And we are thinking about, getting support. If the church could support us, that would be fantastic. The thing is, with our couples dinners, since COVID, the fee for renting the hall has shot up significantly. And that is why we are stuck with one place now, which is the Leonardo Hotel by Heathrow. Now they are offering the cheapest, hall facilities in terms of renting, and we're paying $500 for that. And we don't allow the couples to pay for that. We allow them just to pay for the meals that they have. And so we're looking at how to let the church see this as evangelistic. And the interesting thing is, we've had couples who got baptized through this. I think about 3 different couples. That is over the years. And so it is something good, even though we are not evangelizing. In many ways, it gets people to think, this church is into good things, for people to benefit even in their marriages. And so we'll be looking at how to let the church see the benefit of this ministry.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you. You did well.
Yeah. No.